everyone. My name is Sharon Rogers. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I am so happy to bring you this video. It was recorded as part of a Friday night live event. I come live on Facebook every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. to create with you. And so this is one of those videos. I have edited it, but there will still be some chatter with me recognizing people that are coming on to the Facebook Live. So enjoy this video. I show you several different cards using the Gorgeous Leaves bundle, and I know you're going to love it just as much as I do. So tonight we're going to be using Gorgeous Leaves again. I just absolutely love this set. It can make simple cards. It can make more complex cards. It's a really, really great set. And of course it has dies that go with it. Let me see if I can pull those over. So these are the Intricate Leaves dies. And so you've got some of these leaves, most of these leaves actually, cut out leaves that are just standalone. And then there's this tree branch. And then there are a couple of outline ones that go along with this stamp set. So most of these leaves, like these dies alone, would be great to have on hand. Just to cut out some leaves and use them to decorate cards. But combined with the stamp set, really nice. So I don't know about you, but my yard is full of leaves. Full of leaves. I'm going to be using the maple leaf. And they're no longer vibrant colors. They are more rusty and brown, but they're still beautiful in my opinion. So I am inking my stamp up in Bumblebee. That's one of the in colors that's around for just another 6 months or so. And then, but leaves are generally not just one color. So I want to add a couple of other colors here. And I'm going to take Cajun Craze, and I've got a sponge dauber here, and I actually label mine. Oh, this said crumb cake. I have been using Cajun Craze on it for a long time. I'm gonna have to change that. I must have just grabbed it quickly and saw the C and C and thought Cajun Craze. Oh well, whatever. So I'm gonna just dab some of this on top of the ink already. Just kind of dabbing it around, adding some more depth of color, and then I'm going to take a little early espresso. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And I'm actually going to stamp off or dab off just a little bit. And I'm just going to come around some of the edges and the stem a little bit there. So let's see. So on my card, I'm going to breathe on this to just make sure that all the ink is as moist as the last things that I put on. And I'm just gonna put that right there. And so see, we have a multicolored leaf. And this is just a very, very simple card. I could take any sentiment. And so for instance, I could take Thinking of You here. Let's see. Thinking of You. I need a new ink block. I mean a stamp block. So yes, Debbie, I agree. I love early espresso too, although I've gotten back into black too. But it is such a great color. And especially for the fall season, I think it's a nice alternative. So I could stamp this right over there. I could stamp it underneath. I could stamp it right here. And so for a beginner, here you have a very, very simple card. I know I did that a little bit crooked, but it's not bad. But it's a very, very simple card. You could turn out lots of these in no time at all. Now, here's a very clean and simple card, and a lot of people like clean and simple cards. What could you do to make this a step up? Well, you could stamp more leaves. So I have a piece of Very Vanilla. It's the same width. It's 5.5 inches wide, or long, I guess, and 2.5 inches wide. So I'm going to stamp again. Now, because I've got multicolors on this block, I want to wipe it in between each stamping. So this actually ends up going pretty quick. I'm just going to open my ink pads because I'm going to stamp this several times. I think 4 times, something like that. Cajun Craze and Early Espresso. So I'm going light to dark. I can kind of tell on my screen what is what anyway, but if you didn't, I haven't, this one's the only one that's got the color in the lid. I haven't gotten around to doing that for this one yet, and this one's an old pad that's being replaced very soon with the new style, so I'm not going to bother with that one. And I like to put my daubers on my fingers. I'm going to ink up my stamp again, and I'm going to take my Cajun Craze, and none of these leaves will be the same, right? Because you're probably daubing in different places. Huff, and you're just going to set up a bunch of leaves. Now again, I've stamped it. I've got to go off to the side and clean it and repeat the process. Bumblebee, add a bunch of craze, a little bit of, oh, I forgot I usually stamp off, but whatever. A little bit of Early Espresso. Let's alter my pattern a little bit here. So there's another one. Oh, thank you for the birthday wishes. Yes, I have had a nice day. I actually had breakfast. Sheila, who's on here, took me out to breakfast, which was very nice. And then I spent the rest of the day helping a friend, two friends actually, in a business, getting some stuff out that they were desperately needing to get out. And now I'm stamping, so of course that's awesome. And then I'm going to go to a very nice dinner with my husband in Kennebunk. So it's turning out to be a very eventful day. And so there I've got 4 leaves going on. So that takes it up a notch. Oh, I forgot another way I could have taken it up a notch without doing a whole lot of stuff and without having a whole lot of stuff. So great for beginners. I could have stamped another leaf and cut it out just with scissors and popped it up on dimensionals. So I'd have something that looks like this. So that dimension just adds a little bit of interest to it. And you can have one stamped underneath or not. It doesn't matter. So that's one way. So see, I have this here. And what we could do to make this a little bit more interesting is we could layer it instead of putting it on a base of Very Vanilla. We could put it on a base of Early Espresso. And of course, I'd want to stamp a greeting in here. You could actually stamp, I'm going to go ahead and stamp a thank you as soon as I find the right size piece that I pre-cut before I came out here. Let's see, that's this one right here. I've taken another thank you that I have from the sweet ice cream set. And I can stamp that on, I keep losing this little piece. It's because I think it's a scrap. I think it's just, you know, well, I mean, it is a scrap sort of, but you know what I mean. So there I have my thank you. So I could just do this, and I could put this here, like hanging over the edge. That would be nice. Or I could put it in the middle or off to the side. I actually kind of like it right here. Pop it up on dimensionals. So that gives it a little bit more stepped up look than just this very simple one. There's nothing wrong with simple. A lot of people like simple. And honestly, there are a lot of artists who get paid a lot of money to do simple. So you could have that for another option. but I'm going to step it up even more. Let me close this before I get into trouble with it. So we have some brushed metallic sheets in the July to December mini catalog, and it has a couple of different versions. I just pulled this one out. You can see that it's a scrap. I've done some other things here. And Vivian, you're saying you can't get into Friday Night Live, but you're here. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. I can see your comment. So, all right, let's see. Now, I don't need, I'm going to back this piece with it, but I don't need the whole thing. I just need a couple of strips. So let's see, that's 3/4. So I'm gonna make a strip that's about 3/8 of an inch wide. I'll make another one that's, you know, roughly 3/8 of an inch wide as well. So I've got still more scrap I can use some other time. So I've got just these teeny tiny little scraps here. And all I need to do is adhere this layer. I'm going to use a very thin line of my green glue, just very, very thin. I don't want it squeezing out all over the place. I'm gonna, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't figure out how long it was supposed to be. Oops. So that looks pretty good right there, I think. It's a little bit higher on this end. So the green glue allows me to play with that a little bit. And then I can just snip this off. All right, so that looks good. I'm gonna come to the other end, do the same thing. Just a very, very, very thin line. And I like to put it up to see how much is going on here. I want to get the top and the bottom a little pretty similar. So on the card that I had posted, the reflection almost made it look like this was stitch marks, gold stitch marks, but it wasn't. It was this paper, and it just didn't photograph very well because of the shimmer and the shine. So there, ooh, I just moved this. Gotta fix it. So the green glue is great. It is repositioned. I mean, you can move it around a little bit, but you do have to let it dry. Okay, so let's let that dry for a second. So now, when you put this on, look how pretty that is. Just really sets it off, right? Want to take it up another step? Well, why not, huh? I've got the Bark 3D embossing folder. And so I'm going to bring in another piece of the early espresso. And let's see, I think I want my bark to run up and down like it does on a tree. Imagine that. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. This is a 3D folder. So you're going to need #1 plate, the folder, Stampin' upside up, and the hinge has to go through first, otherwise you risk breaking it. And you're going in. Okay, so let's see what we've got now. So now look at this pretty background that we have. Just has nice texture to it. Let me bring it up a little bit closer so you can see it. See all that texture in there? Really pretty. By the way, this was this piece was the same size as my card front. Sometimes I cut it a little bit smaller, but this one I wanted to go the whole way. I'm just going to put a little bit, and this is just, it looks like a lot of glue, but it's such a thin layer. Those little lines are very, very thin. It's all you need. I'm just going to line this up with my hands, really, because it's the same size. Sometimes the embossing folder will shrink it just a little bit. So like if you had different colors, you might be able to see a difference. You might be able to see where the card base sticks out a little bit, but you can't here. So there we have that. I think I might even back it with another white. What do you think? I'm going to let you guys decide on this. That's actually a little too big for me though, so let me just do a little surgery on this piece. I think this is just under 3 inches. So we can go for just this, the vanilla and the gold. I need you guys to weigh in, or we mount it on a little bit more vanilla. And so you have this. What do you think? What do you like the best? So we're going to put an extra layer on. And here we go. And I'm not even done yet. I mean, this is nice enough, of course, but I'm not even done yet. Not even done spiffying it up. Let's see. Now, I can put this on with dimensionals, or I can keep it kind of like that. I'm going to bring in my sentiment. I know definitely my sentiment is going to go up on dimensionals, so I can go ahead and put that on. And I'm going to use 3 dimensionals, 1 on each end and 1 in the middle. I'm not going to take the backing off just yet, so it's going to look something like this. But let's go ahead and bring in this really pretty gold shimmer ribbon. This is also in the catalog. And while I normally tie a knot, because if I'm mailing stuff, a bow oftentimes will get you the extra surcharge. You want to make things as small as possible. So it's 1 length, 2 length, 3 lengths that you cut. So if you're tying a knot, that's the rule of thumb. Triple the length that it has to go around. And we will wrap this around. And then I do left over right and through. And I put my finger here. And I hold this between my thumb and my index finger of my right hand, and bring this bottom loop up, over, and through. Oops, my finger let go on the bottom. I need to do that again. So left over right, put your finger there, hold that one, bring the bottom one over and through, and you're going to pull gently, and you pull a little bit harder on the right hand one to get a nice flat knot. And so you can see it's a pretty knot. It's not all wrinkly. It's not, it's just a really nice knot. And it's not a very tight one. I can manipulate it a little bit so I can get my saying where I want it to be before I trim my ends. I can have it on the left. I can have it on the right. Doesn't really matter. I'll just trim my little ends at an angle so the ribbon doesn't fray. Take these pieces off. And my ribbon's really going to be held in place largely by those dimensionals. So there I have that. I can go ahead. Because I have some dimensionals on the front, I don't feel the need that I need to pop it off the back. It pops off the back a little bit just because of the dimension of the back. And speaking of that dimension, that's one reason why I really prefer to have the green glue, because I can put a lot more of it on economically, especially when I've got such texture in the back. So look at that nice fall card. And of course, we need something for the middle, right? Because we got to write a thank you note, but we can't write on this. I should stamp it first, though, shouldn't I? I know better than that. Yes, I do. So I'm just going to put another leaf on the inside. So we'll ink it up again. And then we'll take our Cajun Craze. Dab it all over, or wherever you want. And I'm just going to take a little bit of, just a couple of the edges and the stem from the early espresso. Soft suede would also look nice. But there's my card for the, my piece for the inside. Now, I had this idea. Let me tell you what I do. And if you're a demonstrator, if you're on my team, you've seen this probably on my main post and my demonstrator planning place post. I shared an idea with people about what I do. So a lot of times you'll see in November people posting something they're thankful for every day, because you know Thanksgiving is in November. So they'll post something they're thankful for every day. Well, a few years back, I got an old frame and everything's off. It's just the frame. The back is off, everything. And I hot glued some jute on the back of it, and I don't have it here, otherwise I would show you. I'll post a picture of it later though. And so the jute just kind of crosses all over the frame, and I have little clothespins, and I would die cut leaves. I would stamp and die cut leaves. You can just die cut. You can even buy them probably. And I would write, each day I would write something I'm thankful for, and then I would put it onto the frame. And at the end of November, I had a beautiful frame filled with leaves, and I loved it. And everybody liked seeing my things. So hi, Reba. So this year, though, I decided to do something different. And I'm like, you know what would be really great? Not to just, and I should have said, what I often did was I would, if the leaf contained something about a person, you know, I was thankful for a certain person or something they did, I would give them the leaf and explain it to them. But sometimes the leaves had nothing to do with people. It was just, you know, I'm so thankful it didn't rain for the 4th day in a row, something like that. Anyway, so this year I've decided I'm going to fill my frame by, before November starts, it's already done, I'm going to clip a card, 30 cards on there, one for each day in November. And each day I'm going to take a card down and I'm going to write a thank you note to somebody, thanking them for, you know, either who they are, something they've done, just trying to encourage them, brighten their day. And then I'm going to send it or give it to them if I don't, you know, like it might be somebody in the drive-thru and I don't know how to get it to them other than hand it to them. So that is my idea for November, Thankful November. And I hope I can challenge you to do that as well. And if you don't have a frame, all you have to do is set up like a banner. You know, you could just string something along, you know, on a wall and hang them that way. However you display Christmas cards, you could, you know, use that until it's Christmas. So anyway, this is my card. And as we get ready for November, think about maybe doing this, sending a card each day to someone.